Hello and welcome to new number ones for the week of July 22nd, 2026. My name is Corey, and you're here with me now. And the pick of the week comes from our friends at Ignition Press. This is Sicko, written by Tini Howard and illustrated by Amilcar Pinna. And so we'll go ahead and always we bring up what we look for in a new number one. Every episode, we look for an established main character, an established world, and is there enough meat on the bone here to keep going? Ignition Press has been very, very good. I was recently just talking to one of the employees over at my local comic book store about, basically he noticed that every week I'm getting a different number one from a different publisher that's not Marvel or DC. And we got into the topic of like what publishers are really kind of putting out the best work. And I've gone on the record a few times between here and the mother show, Smart Avengers, that Mad Cave Studio and Ignition Press are probably the two best independent or third party or not big two publishers in the comic industry right now. Just across different genres of work they're putting out, the style of work they're putting out, it's all very good. And Sicko is another great example of this. This is sort of a, I don't even really, the genre I suppose would be sort of a action thriller mystery, I suppose. So, first and foremost, Tini Howard is a writer who I have not really enjoyed in the past. I read her work that she did with Marvel in Krakoa. So I was not a huge fan. No, well, I was not a huge fan of what she was doing with the Excalibur book and Knights of X. And when I was picking this week, I was kind of, I don't want to say I was prepared to not like it, but I knew I was going to be sort of have a bias against it. I will say very pleasantly surprised. And if this is the kind of work she's putting out at, if you know, from a non big two publisher, maybe that's the problem. I've always heard that some creators don't like to give Marvel or DC their best work because they don't get to keep it, they don't get to own it. And Marvel and DC get to make all the money they want off of it, and they get their initial contract fee, and that's all. So, Sicko, first and foremost, is the story of a girl by the name of Valentine Virago, and Val is got medical issues, to say the least. We meet this character. She is hospitalized and incredibly ill. She has an autoimmune disease that the doctors are absolutely befuddled by, and she's seemingly dying. So, through the course of the issue, we get introduced to the series of doctors and nurses who are treating her, for the most part, kind of perhaps a statement on the medical industry these days, a little callously, a bit cold, basically being very blunt with her. We don't know what you have. You might want to look into hospice. And Val is somebody she doesn't want to die, simply put. And she was someone who was going to be a doctor. She was in school studying when this mystery illness first took her in. And of course, throughout the course of the book, she discovers that there might be a little bit more to this disease than they're letting on, with the fact that there's certain doctors who are approaching her in hazmat suits, and this sort of mystery company that is now involved. We have a supporting character by the name of Jono, who is a nurse who, at first appearance, seems to be really kind and sweet and on her side, and then we find out that he's related to the owner or the CEO of this mystery company, and we find out that basically Val's disease is kind of a living parasite, and she can give it to other people for a temporary period of time and recall it back, sort of like kind of like Negative Man's negative spirit from Doom Patrol. So, uh, on the basis of a new number one, Val is very well defined. The world that she is in is very well established. We stay in the hospitals mainly, but like we get a sense of how Val is interacting with the world, and that's really what we're looking for when we say that, like, is the world defined? Is the world big enough that the character can interact with it in a way that feels organic and well thought? And then, of course, is there enough meat on the bone to keep going? I'm going to say yes. I mean, we are just now seeing just a snippet of what this mystery illness, this mystery disease, is capable of. Real quick though, we will always, I do like to call out the art. The art by Amilcar Pinna is very, very good. I'm a big fan of the coloring as well. Everything is really muted and really sterile, which sort of encapsulates that feeling of being in hospitals for sure. And let's also just take a quick look at how this autoimmune disease sort of manifests itself in this sort of very colorful energy that looks disgusting and very gross. And that's what we're kind of hoping for. But yeah, ultimately, like I said, I think Sicko is a great issue one. I think it's a good introduction to this series. Issue two is coming out in September. So I will likely jump on board for that and I'll keep you posted as well. But personal recommendation, I say go for it. I think this is a good start. If I had to give it, a rating out of five, I give it a 4.5. I'm not sure what's keeping it from being a five. Maybe it's just my own belief that there's no such thing as perfection. But yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, that has been new number ones for the week. I'll see you guys next week with another one. See you later.